Angela.
Hello. Hey, Cindy, how are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic. How about yourself?
Good, good. Hey, brother sewing and crafting family. We are here at your side virtually, and I guess there was a little mix-up that they thought the show was yesterday, and I actually had to check the calendar. It's kind of like Groundhog Day with this COVID thing, but it was actually today. So I hope some of you that were waiting. Sorry that it wasn't until today, but we're happy to see you. So say hi, say where you're from, Cindy. I don't know about you, but I had to dig myself out of the house today. I literally have 2 feet of snow outside of my house. I feel like I should be in the mountains somewhere. How about you?
We have a half of an inch of ice with a little bit of snow and sleet on top of that. So I'm not leaving the house. My husband had to leave the house today, but I'm not getting out of this house.
Well, I made it here, barely, but I'm here. So I see that there's ice all the way down. So welcome, everyone. I know a lot of you are down in the areas where you're not used to this. At least I have an SUV, or else you wouldn't be seeing me for a while. Win, I got to tell you, he's great. He came and shoveled my office, but he also shoveled a little path so my squirrels could get to their food.
That's a dedicated man. He likes the squirrels, I guess.
I looked outside at that. Oh gosh. Oh, that's fantastic. That's just because he doesn't want me to buy a pet to put in the house. He's just making sure I'm a happy camper. Oh, so today, guys, we got a great show for you. So I was telling Cindy, and I got this right here. I bought this. This is Wynn's jacket. It's a really nice, expensive fleece, right? A little bit long. And he wanted me to embroider his name on it and a few other things. Well, it has a nice fleece on the inside. It's kind of like a sportswear on the outside. And you all know that I love embroidering, but I get a little freaked out when it comes to embroidery on something, because if I screw it up, that could be a really expensive mistake. I mean, if it's my own thing, I can make a new shirt, but that, not so much. So I was talking to Cindy, and Cindy had a great idea.
It's all about patches. When you're afraid to actually put something on a garment, it's all about patches, especially when, like, say you're doing a leather jacket. You don't really want to put that embroidery on there in case, as Angela says, something happens and the epic embroidery fail comes along. Of course, it is a good way to cover up an epic embroidery fail as well.
Oh, I never thought about that. So I could embroider on it, and if I screw it up, then put a patch on it. But, I think I like the patch idea, because then if Wynn changes his mind, or maybe he wants to give the jacket away, then he's probably going to want to take the patch off. I mean, who's going to want to wear a jacket that says Wynn on it? Well, I mean, I would, but probably. So, okay, I love this idea. And I believe you're going to show it to us on the beautiful 10 needle. But just so you know, what she's showing us today could be done on any of the Brother embroidery machines. It's mostly about the technique.
Yes, and well, you do need, if for doing it on the machine itself, you do need to have the applique function on your machine. So that would be the Stellaire, the Luminaire, the Old Dream. I believe the Quattro had it. Mm-hmm. There's quite a few out there that do. Not all of them do. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, you could do it in software as well. Same technique. You just would create the patch in P Design. It is an applique, so it's not a hard function. We're going to build ours entirely on the 10 needle today.
That sounds fantastic.
And I'm going to show you how to make multiples. So if you were doing, let's say you were doing backpacks for a group, this is a super simple, easy way to do that. Anything that you want to create multiples of, we'll do that on the machine as well. So you'll learn quite a few different techniques on the machine. You'll learn how to add things to the machine. So are you ready to get going on this?
I'm ready, but I love the idea, by the way, you mentioned backpacks. My sister just messaged me that her 3 little ones, they're 3, 3, and 4. Oh, that's old there. She bought them the cutest little backpacks and the cutest lunch bags to go to school when they go back to school. And she said, will you please embroider these? I said, don't mail those to me. I'll do little appliques and patches for you, and you just sew them on. And she's like, I don't think it's going to look as good. Well, I guarantee it will, Teresa. So if you're watching, pay attention. Maybe you could just do your own. But I love it. That's a great idea. And also, that's another example of something that if you embroidered right on one of those lunch, like they're like the cloth ones, but those are really thick. It's much easier to sew around it than make sure all your stitches are good. So I'm looking forward to this.
Or even just ironing it on. So I've made mine into an iron-on patch, but you could go either way. Let's say you were doing a cooler and it's got the insulation inside. You don't actually want to stitch through that. So your patch is the way to go. Also, when you've got something that has a strong pattern to it, this is a good way to be able to embroider something with a strong pattern to it to make it stand out.
That sounds good. All right, we're ready.
All right, I'm going to switch my other camera so you can pop yourself up for a minute.
All right, well, she's switching. Hey, Mary, I see you in here. I just have to tell you, Mary, I saw the blouse that you made. Well, not a blouse, but the top that you made, that you did a little pattern hack in the Angela Patterns group. Super, super, super cute. I just got to give you a little shout out there. That was adorable. I love the way that it was a little looser. So those of you that missed that, it's in the Angela Patterns group. So Cindy's back up. Let's bring this. There you are.
And Cindy lost her stylist. Bummer.
Oh, no. Well, I do that all the time. I've got like 3 now. I had 0 last week. I got 3. You want me to throw you one?
You could throw me one, or I could go grab one, but I'll just use my finger. Just don't judge my hands, okay? My hands are very dry from the cold. They do not like cold weather. So they are very, very dry and cracky. All right, so we're going to touch our screen and get this thing to life if it likes my fingers today. There we go. And we're going to touch our general patterns area, which is this one right here. And in here, I have some utility patterns. I chose to go with the firehouse just simply because it's a good one to go with. Can everybody see my little firehouse patch?
Yeah,
if I zoom in, you can see it. Let's say we want to see it on a 4-inch hoop. There you go. And you can zoom in and look at it to see if it's the exact design that you want. I'm actually happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead and close and set it. I want to add some tags to it, so I'm going to touch my Add button. And let's go into our alphabets that we have built in here. Well, I don't want anything real fancy, I don't think, because I want it very legible, but let's look and see what fonts we have in here. I actually think I want to go with the first one. Now, I never know what size I want the font to be. Angela, how about you when you're doing this? Do you know what size you want it to be?
Just yesterday, I was adding a letter to, I sewed a pair of jeans and I was trying to put a letter on the back of my pocket and I still couldn't make up my mind. It took me like 4 times.
So here's my trick. I don't worry about it. So I'm going to put in Murfreesboro Fire Department here, MFD. And I'll set that. Now I can come in and I can choose size and I can resize it till it's the size that I want it to be. That's how I go about this. Instead of trying to choose large, medium, or small to begin with, or you could choose large, medium, and small once you get here. But I personally sit and play with my shrink button.
I love the shrink button. And also, even yesterday when I was trying to choose one of the fonts, it tells you the measurement. So I just pulled out my ruler and I was measuring exactly what I wanted, and then I could still make adjustments. Super easy.
So I'm going to go back into the text button here, and I'm going to touch Array because I want to arc it as well. This is my arc. And if you want to increase or decrease that arc, let's take this and move it up a little bit so we can see what we're looking at. Let's increase that arc a little bit. Each time you touch it, it arcs just a little bit more. And I'm going to take and move my text up a little bit more. And I think I am ready to make this into a patch. How about you?
That looks good. That was pretty easy.
So we're setting that. Now, this is the magic button right here. This is your applique button. When you touch that, whoops, I want to select all first though. Cancel. I want to select all. So this is your multiple selection button. We're going to touch this button right here to select all because I want everything grabbed in my applique. And then we're going to group it. Now it's one unit and my applique button is active. If your applique button is not active after you've selected all, you did not group it. We're going to touch the default side. Default is it's going to go around the patch in the shape of what you've got. If you want that, that's great. If you don't, and you want it in more of a circular manner, you can just touch one of the frames. So if you want circle, square, diamond, you pick. I'm going to go with a circle, and I'm going to shrink that in a little bit. You can choose how far away you want it from your pattern, but I'm actually fine with that. We'll touch OK. touch OK again, and I have my patch created.
It's really, hold on one sec. It's really funny because you keep, for some reason, you got to love the internet. I think the internet's frozen too, but it was freezing. So just when you guys watch the replay, just listen to the words, even if you can't see her hands moving around.
Do you want me to go back and do it again?
No, you're good. Because we could hear you. Your hand froze.
My hand froze there. Who knows?
Who
All
knows?
right, so we've got it ready, and I want to show you how to set it up for multiples. So this button right here, if you are wanting to do multiple patches, this button right here is your border function or repeat function. So it allows you to add more to your hoop. I'm going to take mine and move it up here so that we don't have to add to both sides. It'll just let us add to the right. So we'll
Cindy, hold on one sec. For some reason, like it's not using, now your hands are frozen again. So I'm just going to have you do that one section over again because we never saw your hands. That was so strange. Okay, try one more time.
All right, so let me undo. Border repeat function, touch that. I'm going to move this up into my top corner so I only have to add to the right. We'll add 2 to our right, and we can spread those out. Wrong direction. This is our spread button. If you wanted to add 4, you probably got space to add 4, but I'm going with 3 today. And I want to add 1 row down. So I'm going to touch the vertical button and add a row there, and I can spread those apart as well. And then you can put them in the center of your hoop. So you can create an entire hoop of patches in one go, right there on the machine, and touch OK. Did I freeze or are we good?
You froze on and off, but I think they saw it. So also, border function, just remember that word when you go to find that on your machine. It's the easiest thing ever. I love that feature.
I truly love that feature. I use it all the time on multiple things. So I'm actually going to undo what I just did because I only want to sew 1 today, just keeping so that we're good to go. Actually, I did want to show one last thing, so I'll go back and do that one more time. Hold on.
Okay.
So, oops. Border function, we're going to add it to the side. It's going to yell at me this time. No, it's not good. Sweet. And add it to the bottom. And touch OK. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in the middle. I'll back up here in a little bit and get rid of the ones I don't want. But I'm going to end edit. Yeah, I knew it was going to yell at me for that. Hold on. That's why I did not have that adjusted to begin with. All right. We're going to touch end edit, and this button right here is also magical on the 10 needle. If I go ahead and touch embroidery right now, you'll notice that each patch is its own color. So if you want to go ahead and do each patch one at a time, you can do that. But if you return and you touch this button right here, that is a magical button. When you touch embroidery, it actually color sorts everything for you. So you don't have, it'll sew all of the orange first, all of the red next, whatever color order it's in, it sews them in that correct order, which I think is very sweet.
That's really cool. You're frozen again, but we can hear you. It's so strange.
That is weird because I am plugged in.
It's because you're frozen down there.
That is true. It could be because we are in the frozen tundra, but you can hear me, which is good. There is also one other button in here that you can do. If you link things together, actually I wanted to do that in the other one. So if I go into my edit menu again and I go back into my colors, let's say I want to change the oranges to something else. If I touch the link button right here, and let's put something obnoxious in there like purple. So instead of orange fire hydrants, I get purple. If you reset it, it will go back to the color that it was before. So even if you decide, I don't like that and I don't remember what color it was to begin with, just touch the reset button and it takes it back to what it was before. All right, so I am going to go ahead and take undo out of here and see if we can get back to single patch.
This is like the funniest thing ever, Cindy. So we can hear you talking, but you're not Like it's only the machine. You're not even in there.
That is weird.
It's like you got little ghosts in there. By the way, everyone was asking first up if they could see the applique feature. So while she's on that, where she keeps going in and out, what I'll do is get on my Luminaire because I have the same buttons, and you can see those on there too.
Okay, so can you see it now?
We can see the machine screen, but we cannot see you at all.
Well, that's perfect. You don't need to see me.
Okay.
Machine screen's all I want you on right now, so that's good. We're going to go ahead and end at it and touch embroidery. Now, you can either, depends on your method of madness as to what you want to do. You can either sew all of the colors first and then have it do the applique, or fast forward to the applique. I personally fast forward to the stitch that's going to stitch down my applique. That keeps my circle nice and stable, but that's up to you guys. You choose your own method of madness. So let's make sure my colors are right. They are. I'm going to go ahead and do one last thing. I want all of my applique colors to go to my brown, which is needle number 4. So I'm magic wanding this. Change them all to the same color. They've got a hand on them, so that means that they'll stop for me to be able to cut that. We're going to go ahead and say okay. And I am going to go to my plus minus. And as I said, you could stitch it as it is. I just personally prefer to do it this way. So I'm going to go to applique material. Actually, since I'm in a 4x4 hoop and I know that my fabric fits right in there because I basically cut it to that size, I'm going to go ahead to go to the second one there. Touch OK. And just lay my fabric down in there. Now, if I used my scan and cut, I would stitch that first line so I would know where to put my circle. I did not use a scan and cut with this one because not everybody has one. So we're going to go ahead and lock it and get started. And while that's stitching, Angela, you want to show them on the Luminaire?
Yeah, because I think you're going to have to go back and show quite a few of those buttons again because there's definitely like a weird thing going on. So can you come back?
You're freezing on my side a little bit, so I don't know.
Yeah, this is really strange. It is definitely been the gremlins, this weather, this last week with internet. We all have seen that. So I will definitely, give me one sec here. I'm going to have you come back to the screen. There's a few questions for you. And then
I'm going to go ahead and get this started. And I will, once this circle finishes, we'll come back to the beginning of it. All right. Let's...
There it goes.
Okay. So I'm going to take you over and show you what I did, and then we'll let this go and let you show the buttons. All right. So here is my circle that's sewn. Let's see if I can get it in the, there we go. And you're just going to take your scissors. I have my double curved embroidery scissors here. You've heard me say that before, that they are my favorites. And you're going to cut right up to that line. You could leave this step till later, but I knew you were going to have do it anyhow, so this is just the easiest time to do this.
So are you just cutting the fabric?
I'm just cutting the fabric. I am on an adhesive stabilizer. You can use adhesive wash away or adhesive tear away. The wash away will obviously wash away.
That's
if
one
you're
of the
planning on sewing it, that's the best option. If you're planning on sticking it, then I like to have the tear away because it has something for the adhesive to stick to.
Okay, that's what Stephanie wanted to know. What stabilizer are you using and what fabric are you using?
I did not have a real stable fabric in my stash today. So what I did was I actually fused 2 pieces of fabric together with a double-sided adhesive to make myself a really nice stable fabric. Okay. Now I'm going to let this go ahead and sew while you do your thing. And I'll come back and answer questions.
All right.
We're going to go back to 0. And we are there. Go ahead, lock it, and it's going to stitch the whole thing. Okay.
Fantastic.
Now, you've got questions for me?
Yeah. So I'm going to let you answer quick questions. I'm just going to drop over.
I'm going to wait. All right, let me see if I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Nope. Hang tight.
Michelle, brother did not discontinue the 10 needle. There is the 10 needle.
No, there are different 10 needles. I'm using the 1055, the 1055X, the 1050 is the discontinued model.
Yeah. Cindy wants you to review what you just used for hooping.
All right, I use an adhesive stabilizer and an adhesive tearaway, basically. You can use an adhesive tearaway or an adhesive wash away. I hooped the stabilizer, scored the release paper, and peeled it out. So let's see, what else did we? Yeah, patch twill is a great option. Like I said, I just used what I had in my house, which I didn't have much close to my house. I had cotton fabric, so I'd adhered 2 layers together to make a much more stable fabric.
All right, so Cindy, while you are, oh, I hear an echo. One second. Okay, so I'm ready for the luminaire. Maybe.
All right, so I'm going to mute myself for a minute, Angela, while this is going.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so let me I'm going to mute you because there's an echo. All right. No idea what that little circle is. I'll bring you really close in here. So a couple of the buttons, see if I can put my head over that light. Just turn it on here. So a couple of the buttons that she mentioned that you guys were asking about. There's the embroidery. Let's see if I can just bring this in just a little bit. Choose a design. Well, she actually chose some letters, which was kind of cool. And down here is where you could choose the sizes of the letters or just choose a letter. And I'm just gonna do one of these for now, just to show you the buttons again. Make sure you guys can see that okay. Hold on one sec. Cindy, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm just making sure that I've got this on. Because if I'm freezing too, I have no idea what there's like this weird circle light. It must be like the halo that's like killing our. Okay, so I'm just going to click on here. Is where you have the options to change sizes again. That's what she was playing with a little bit. Click OK. The applique button is this one right here. Let's take this in really close because I know a lot of you said, wait, what does that one look like? Right here. Here's the applique. You can also make this outline a little bit further out. That, although she added a circle in there, so if I go back, shape. There's our circle.
Go back into the applique button, Angela.
Okay.
For me.
There you go.
Go up to the top of it. Just curious if you have the same. You don't have the same options that I have. Interesting.
These are my only 2 options, to go bigger or smaller. Go big or go home.
Okay, so on the 10 needle, they can choose whether they want it to contour to the shape or whether they want to have it be in a different shape, which is nice.
Oh, that's interesting. No, I don't think, well, that was around the circle. Now, when I do just the letter, and and I click applique? No, but still.
Yeah. Different options. So you do have to add a circle if you're doing it, and then you can delete that circle.
That was one thing that people asked about. So that is the applique button, just so you know what that is. And then the border, when you want to add a bunch of these, it's the border function, which is this icon right here. Let me go back. See that?
Yep.
Click on that, and you can add one to the right, or up on top, or to the right and left. There's a whole batch of rows. Very cool to do. So those are what those icons were that you were using. So Cindy, there was a few other questions. Let me bring you up here with me. That's called teamwork.
Yes. I'll try to show it again. I don't know what's going on, why that's being delayed.
It's been a whole week of this. I think it's the weather, and I think it's the internet, and everybody and their brothers on online right now.
And yes, you can use
again what machine you're using.
1050 PR 1055X was the one I was using. That feature is on the color sort's not on the 1050, but the applique feature is on the 1050, and so is the repeat. The color sort is only on the 1055X or on, actually, I believe it's on the PR 670E as well.
Oh, I'm just getting her needle. Congratulations. So there was a question when you had all of those, when you multiplied, with the border function like I did on here, for the 10 needle, will it auto color sort where it does all?
You have to punch that magic button, and I'll see if we can get that once this is done.
Okay.
Actually, we can stop this. I've got the finished patch that I can walk you through what we did with, so that we don't have to listen to this.
That's so funny. Squirrels in the lines. I agree. That's the problem.
So how did I space the letters? I used the arc feature, the array feature, and that's on many of our machines. Angela, can you punch in a couple of letters on your Luminaire and show them the array button?
I sure can. Let me go back over here, and I'll take you over there. All right, so let's go back here. Oh, sorry.
I told you to tell me not to trip over stuff. I forgot to tell you not to trip over stuff.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so you asked me just to pick a few letters, right?
There you go. So the array button left there, yeah.
Is this one right here? All right.
Yes.
That it gives you all of these options here. And as I touch each one of these buttons, you can see how it automatically changes this. I love this feature, by the way. Of course, I picked 3 of the oddest fonts for this, but I think you'll catch on. Very easy to do. All right. Bring Cindy back up here.
Well, at least they say I froze with a cute pose. Or you. One of us did.
Oh, God. That's so funny.
I'm trying to keep my face out of it, but maybe it was you.
Okay, so, Marcia wants to know, what was the color sort button? Does the Luminaire have that color sort? Yeah. Well, not the same one, but I can show it on the Luminaire.
Yeah, and the Luminaire also has the Luminaire 2, and the upgrade for the second upgrade gives them the ability to change the order that things sew in. And somebody asked if I could use that with only the stuff that was built in or designs that you bring in. It can be done with any design.
So on Embroider, if you look right here.
So yeah, that's your.
I only have one color though, so that's not going to do any good.
Yeah, that is your color sort button.
Yep, that's it right there, guys. You see that? 3 in a row. That's it.
Generally, is liking our live. Yeah, I mean, when you have weather, you have no idea what's going to happen. So the grandmas are watching me.
I had a live online show or online class on Friday, and I thought it was me And so I'm freaking out that all my equipment is going down. And it turned out that at the same time that I froze, so did some other people in town. The internet went out, the TV went out.
I can't explain it. Like I said, I am wired today, so I didn't even try the wireless function. I am wired, hardwired in everywhere.
Jen, I'm not home. I'm at the office, and I've been running around getting ready for the show, which is why I'm wearing a tank top, or I would be freezing too. Although I keep my office pretty warm.
Kathleen, yes, the Stellaire does have the array feature on it. So it's there.
Oh, Patricia gets her Luminaire this week. Yay, I will see you in class then. That sounds fantastic. Wonderful.
So it's just about done stitching. I can kind of explain what I did. So after it was done, I took a marker and marked on my adhesive stabilizer around the circle that it makes, and then cut that out and then ironed it to the back of it so that I have an iron-on patch. We had somebody that asked a question about sewing a patch on, tips for sewing one. I'm going to give that one to you, Angela.
Okay, so a couple different things. Well, one, Cindy's doing it where she presses it on, which is very cool. But tips for sewing it on, a couple different things. One, it depends how thick the patch is. It depends what it is. But usually I will use a stitch length of about a 3.0, not too small, sometimes 3.5. It just depends how big the patch is and how much of a curve. So let's just say you have a patch that's like this. Okay. As you're going around the straighter lines, I will use a little bit longer stitch length. And then when I get to the curve, go down 1. So let's just say you have 3.0 and you're stitching all the way. When you get to the curve, decrease it to 2.5. Actually, change that. 3.5 and then 3.0. As you go around the curve, it helps it so you don't have like little jagged edges. That's one thing. Two, quite often I'll end up upping my needle to a denim, the size 14 denim, because that will puncture right through that patch and the fabric with no problem at all. And depending on what kind of patch you have, I usually like to stitch right inside the satin line. And if you don't, you could always use a zigzag stitch with the same exact thread going around. And then that way it blends in with the satin stitches. Just another little idea there. Do you have any special things when you sew yours on, or you? I
tend to adhere mine. I'd love to tell you that usually I'm doing a patch so that it'll go on something that I can't really sew through.
Yeah.
So I adhere mine. And now this one's done. I'm going to flip cameras and show you what I did the rest of the way here. Okay. So we are done. And
oh, that's cute.
Evidently I did not change the color of my black lettering. Oh well. And it just pops out. And I'm going to tell you the little trick that I was talking about. If you take your marker and you mark around, just draw around the outside edge onto your patch attach, you can go that route and it'll attach it to it. If your machine wiggled on you, you can always trim close up, but don't trim the stitches. And I'm going to tell you my extra special trick. If you see fabric, grab you a fabric marker in the same color. And nobody will ever see that it's there. Oops. Don't do this in the air. Pay attention to what you're doing. But you do want to heat set it. So I have a fabric marker. This was my finished one. Here is my adhesive backing, and it's ready to go on.
So, hey, Stacia wants to know. Oh, sorry, Stacia, I totally botched your name. So, I was like reading two names. Stacy wants to know what backing you're using. I think Janet asked that too. Like, what backing are you using to make it sticky like that? Is there any specific?
No, you just want a heavier duty adhesive. So I would not do a lightweight adhesive. I would do a heavier duty adhesive. We're not allowed to tell you brand names here. So you could use the Brother fabric contact sheets if you wanted to. It's just a double-sided adhesive. I used a ultra hold.
Yeah. And Donna, I do not use invisible thread when I'm sewing mine on. I use a thread I either use a thread that's exact same color as the outside satin stitches or something similar that will blend in. So you could also use embroidery thread. I usually just grab sewing thread when I do it, but you could use embroidery thread, the same exact embroidery thread, and do a zigzag stitch, and it will kind of blend in with what you're doing. But typically I just use universal polyester thread, which is really thick. We'll get on there and stitch right on the inside. That's personally. Now I'm not like I don't do this all the time, so it's not like I do this as a business or anything. I'm just doing it
it's not my business model. So, but when I need a patch, that's what I do. So there are different brands, out there that you can use. Some are say specifically for patches, but great idea, Jen. If you have an SE 1900 and you don't have a hat attachment, that would work. Doing a patch instead of trying to embroider on the hat itself would work.
That's a great idea. Can you adjust stitch width on satin stitches on patch function, in patch function, Mary?
Possibly. We could go explore that together. I don't know that I've tried that. Usually if I'm playing with width and stuff, I will be honest, I do this in software. It's great that it's on the machine, but I am a software girl, so I generally do mine on the software. But there may be a setting, and if you give me a minute, I'll look and see. Somebody asked I needed to show that button anyway on mine, where it was to color sort, and I'll do that. So let me flip back over there now that we're done sewing. Okay. I won't promise that it's here, but we'll look in our settings and see if there's a setting that we can do. Is that zoomed up close enough for you guys?
We're looking at your table.
You're still looking at my table?
Yep. Now we see you, but it's very...
Okay. It's just delayed.
Yeah.
That is weird. Let me do one last thing here, Angela.
I'm telling you, the lines are frozen. Cindy just swapped out, so she'll be right back. This is truly live, Jen. You never know what's going to happen when it's live. Mary, that's so funny. She did pose. She did freeze with a cute pose. All right, I think she's back. Let's see. Are you back? Maybe. Nope. So by the way, while she's fixing that, for those of you that want to learn more about embroidery for beginners, I got to give a little plug. This Friday at noon, Cindy and I have an online virtual class that will be at noon on Friday. And if you go to angelawolf.com, click on the classes at the top, and it will take you there. You can sign up. And it's a 90-minute class, which will be live. Now, by the way, when it's live, if there are technological problems like right now, or even last Friday, we had technology issues for the Surging 101 class, we will actually record the class and drop it so you can see it. So no matter if it's live, kind of live, or partly live, you'll get your full 90 minutes of a class. But anyways, it's going to be Embroidery 101. And that is going to teach you about some stabilizers, what needles to choose, thread. It's full of information. In fact, her and I were talking. We had to split it up into 2 classes because we had so much that your head would be spinning. So that is Friday at noon. So mark your calendar. So, hey, we see you now. We see your screen really well.
All right. No fluctuation on this one.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. So let's go back and edit, and we'll go all the way back. Let me just ungroup, and we'll get rid of actually, we don't have to go all the way back. We'll get rid of our circle here. So I'm going to delete that, and we'll go back into our applique feature. But let's look in the settings and see if there is a function here. I have not explored this, so we're exploring it together here. Because I can change my
screen. Perfect. You should just do the whole thing over again now.
All right, so I'll do the whole thing over again. Do we have time for that?
You have nothing else to do today, did you?
So there is not a button that lets me do that. So there's not a setting that we can adjust in here to make it thicker. I'll start again, guys. Okay, general settings or general designs. I went into my utility designs and I chose the firehouse set. This can be done with any design. Don't get me wrong. I'm just using what's built in here so you guys can see that. We're going to touch add, touch the text. We'll touch a font, and I put in, let's do here, MFD, Murfreesboro Fire Department. And I said I didn't know what size I wanted it to be, so I just went ahead and touched set, touch size, and you can choose large, medium, or small here, or you can adjust it just by using the increase and decrease size. I wanted to arc it, so I touched my text menu, and I went and touched array, touched that button. Angela showed you that a minute ago on yours, and if you want to arc it more, you just keep touching this button until it's arced the way you want it, and then you take it to the top. Or you could take it to the top first. Up into you. Touch OK. If you wanted to adjust the spacing, I did not show that, but you can adjust the spacing by touching the spacing button in the text menu and increase or decrease it. Evidently, I'm as low as I can go because it's beeping at me. When you're done, touch set. To add the applique, this is your applique button. Something that the 10 needle has that the Luminaire did not have was a circle. But I forgot one thing. Multiple selection, because I want to see my whole design. Touch select all and touch OK. Group that together. So now my applique button is back active. And I chose my circle. You can increase or decrease the size of the circle. On the Luminaire, evidently, the only option you have is to contour it so it would go all the way around. But so you could choose, add a circle, which Angela showed you from the frame shapes. I'm going to shrink mine in. Oops, too far. Touch set. And my applique is already ready to go. Touch OK. Now, to do multiples, I'm going to take this guy and move him up. I touched my repeat function, which is the same as on the Luminaire, except for the orientation is different. So I can add to the side, and I can spread those out.
I love that feature. My favorite.
I can add vertically, and I can add a row down below. You'll notice the reason I punched mine is to the top and to the left is so I didn't have to go left and right. This just gets me in order. You don't have to do that. That's just my preferred method. I'm going to center them in my hoop and touch OK. We good so far?
Yeah.
All right. If you want to change a color and you want all of the colors to change at one time, touch your color button. And this is only on the 670E and the PR 1055X. Touch the link button. So if I wanted to change all of my oranges to something else, let's say I wanted to go to pink, all of the oranges in that design change to pink at one time. I'm going to reset that because I don't want that. If you pick something that you don't like, you can always change it. I'm going to change my brown to my black to dark brown here. Let's link it, and it is. So let's go dark brown. That's olive green. There we go, dark brown. And I can change my applique color down here to dark brown as well. And we're good. I'm going to say OK. Touch end edit. Oh. Got to slide that back out so it knows I've got a larger hoop on. Tricking the machine. All right. So we're going to touch end edit now. My color, if I do it as it is, it will not be color sorted. This is the color sort button. Now there's one other button on here that I absolutely love. If you wanted just to sew the outline of the fire part, you can link all of your colors together and you can turn the colors off that you don't want it to stitch. So if you just wanted to put the hat with the outline of the design, you can actually see that. So y'all see what I've done there?
Oh, yeah, that's great.
which means I don't have to skip those colors. It's easy to skip it on a single needle machine, but on a multi-needle machine, it's not that you have to pay attention. So this lets it skip those colors and go forth and multiply. So there you go.
That was awesome. Second time is the charm for sure.
All right. So I'm going to go back and we can wrap this up.
Definitely. That was way better. Unfrozen. The gremlins are done snowing. Is that what you said, Jen? So let me bring you back up here. Oh, Robin, we'll look forward to seeing you on Friday. And Gertrude, I didn't rearrange my studio. I just turned the camera this way. That way it's a little bit too messy right now. So
yeah, don't look behind this screen here.
Yeah. Yvette, so just a quick thing about the classes. Yes, you guys can still take the serging class. So how these work is these are mini courses. So for the class on Friday, it's noon Eastern time. Cindy and I are doing embroidery 101, because then there might be a 102, 103, just giving you a little hint, kind of like the serging 101, 102. Mm-hmm. So if you join us live, you will have the opportunity to ask questions at the end, interact with fellow sewists around and embroiderers, whoever's in class live, but you don't have to be live, because then the class will go and live on the Angela Wolf Academy, where you can go and take it anytime. And usually we have handouts and things like that to go with it. So you can watch live and then the class lives on the Academy. So then you can watch it at any time. I say the class is good for 60 or 90 days, but really it's good for a lifetime. But if I say that, is it your lifetime, my lifetime, or her lifetime? So I hate, like, when you use that word, it kind of is like, really? So if I say 60 or 90 days, it saves me in case like the internet goes down, right? Yes. So if you can't join us live, though, you can definitely join the class, because you'll still have access to all of the videos, handouts, and everything that we do. So that is at noon on Friday. If you go to angelawolf.com, that's where I have the link for our class. You'll see our smiling faces in the class section, and we'd love to see you. It's a lot of fun. If you can join live, that's really a lot of fun, Cindy, because then you can ask questions. You can interact with other people that are there. This is not a Zoom meeting. It's an online platform. So if you haven't done it, and yes, if the video is really bad, we do it over, like on Friday. I think third time was the charm for that. The beautiful weather. So there was
you can't help it. It is what it is on the internet these days.
Oh, yeah. So Jen, yes, we'll be happy to see you. I saw there was a couple other questions on here for you real quick. I think it was more about, someone asked again. Hey, Cindy, what is the first font on the pretty font tab? She's looking for you, Kelly. She's looking.
It is the first font on the pretty font tab is the alphabet with the flowers around on top of it.
Oh, I love that one. I think I have that too.
I mean, if y'all want to see the pretty fonts that are on there, I mean, the font designs that are on there, they're gorgeous. I don't mind showing those if you want to see them.
Oh, Jolita, we'd love to see you in class. Wonderful. Is that only on the 1055, correct? Which part? Which part are you referring to?
The color sort's only on the 1055 and the PR 670E and the Luminaire.
Everyone's saying this machine is awesome. It is awesome. And any of you that rolled in later, you can go back and rewatch this. And if it's frozen, you'll be able to fast forward to part 2.
Go to the second half of this where I didn't freeze. We learned something. We need to plug that into a different. Today it didn't like the other cord. Who knows?
Arnell wants to know, is the embroidery? Oh, our embroidery class will be for any machine. It's any machine. Of course, we're Brother Brand ambassadors, so that's what we're going to be using. But it could be any machine using a 4x4 hoop. So we're teaching you the basics, the absolute basics. Because if you don't know that, it's hard to get past that.
Yes, she's a font alphabet junkie, so she wants to see those fonts. And do we have time? We do. Hold on, I'll flip back over there.
Cindy, are you doing a live today on your page?
I am, 4:15.
4:15 it is.
Okay, so the fonts on this machine, the specialty fonts, font designs, not like type them in and go. are on, let me go back to that menu. They're right here. So these are like your keyboard fonts, QWERTY fonts. These are font designs. So this is the one that you asked me about, Kelly. This is the first one. They really are beautiful. This is the second one. I remember having this one. Gosh, I'm going to tell you all how old I am just by telling you this. I had this one on my ULT. That's been a few years ago. This one is probably one of my favorite new ones. And I'll tell you a fun trick about this. So let's say I want to use remember that feature I was showing you a minute ago to turn on and off colors? If I go into, oops, wrong button.
Hey guys, I see our friend that's visiting, and don't worry, I'm taking care of it.
So let's say we want to turn off everything in the center of this and just show the outline of it. I can do that, or I can go back into edit and I can add decorative elements to it. So you can come in here and find different stitches. Let's say I want to put that in it. Is that not fun?
Oh, that's very cool.
So let me go slower here. I've got my speed set on high here. Let's go a little slower with the taps. Then you could do a repeat on that. And you could shrink it. And you've just made a different font. So that's one of the fun tricks on this one. But let's go back to the actual font designs. This one is your split letter design. So you bring up the letter that you want and you put in your text in between it.
Oh, I love that one.
These are pretty. Those are kind of a calligraphy style. These are really
Margaret
nice
said the flower one made her switch to brother.
Yeah. This is a really nice font as well. This one used to be a card. It's called the Renaissance card, I believe. Once again, I showed my age. I've been around a long time. What can I say? So you've got this is an applique font, and you can tell that because it's pink, that it's the applique color. Then you have, let's see here, an athletic font. This is a 2-color, actually this is a 3-color font. So you've got the interior color, the second color, and the last color. This is your striped font. And you have another page. Then you have 2 different Greek ones. An applique Greek one and a regular Greek one. And those are the built-ins. Any other questions while I'm at this machine?
Gosh, everybody's loving it. I'm just scrolling through. Everyone's saying they just love the fonts. You guys have any more questions while she's over there?
I love the fact that I have buttonholes on this machine.
Oh, I love that. You know, actually, it's kind of funny that you say that because yesterday I finished sewing a pair of jeans. And this weekend, Cindy, I did what I call #selfish sewing. It sounds terrible, but it's the first time I've had time to sew for myself in so long that I literally locked myself in the studio. Wynn went ice fishing, which you know how much I enjoy that. So he was like, "Do you care if I go fishing?" I'm like, "No, I'll go sew." So I made a pair of jeans and you know, you get to that front, I'd show you the jeans, but they're at home in the washer because I always wash them and dry them before I wear them after sewing. But I needed a buttonhole at the front. And, you know, you got that front edge of the jeans can be really thick. Now, yeah. 2 things. That foot that comes on the luminaire, I tested it. Oh my gosh. I stuck the fabric. You have the buttonhole. You have this whole section. I think I actually have a photo here to show. It sewed that buttonhole beautifully. And then when I finished, I was like, why didn't I just use the embroidery machine? Because then I could just stick that jean on there and it would come out beautifully. But I got a photo of this and I have to tell you, it was absolutely perfect. So here you go. Oh, wait, here. This is how much snow I just left my, here you go. See all that snow?
Yeah. That's a bit of snow.
Yeah.
I have a ½ inch to an inch of ice. And it is very slick. I've fallen 2 days this week.
So you can kind of see it. It's a little bit dark. I don't think I can make it brighter, but I can share the photo. I shared it on Instagram. That foot went over the edge of the jean and everything and sewed a beautiful buttonhole. But that being said, next thing I thought of was, hey, wait a minute. Why didn't I just stick this and do the embroidery? Because those buttonholes are beautiful.
They really are very nice. And I'm telling you, they're great because you can make them so big. You know, the big buttons that we've got for home deck. Yeah. They make beautiful buttons for home deck.
For curtains, anything like that.
Yep. Somebody asked, are the fonts available for the Dream Machine? No, what you have on your machine is what you have as far as that goes. They are not purchasable. However, there's many of these that are on your Dream Machine. Go in and look at your decorative fonts.
And also
the font designs.
Go to embroidery.com because there's a ton of fonts in there as well.
Yeah. They may have some of these up there. I don't know which ones they do.
Yeah, I don't either.
What else we got? We'll put a link in. No, we can't put a link on this one. I can put a link on mine this afternoon. I'll be on at 4:15 this afternoon.
Okay, so just a couple things. They were asking, people were getting confused. So Cindy has a live show every Tuesday afternoon for between 4:15, 4:30. Usually it's 4:30, depending on your schedule, where she teaches software. Well, you tell. It's your class.
Okay, and I'm on Eastern time. So normally it's 3:30 Eastern time. Today I have meetings all afternoon and we don't end until 4-ish. So I'm starting at 4:15 Eastern time today. It's basically software shut-in fun. I talk about Brother software, whether it be Canvas Workspace, PE Design, any software program that we have that Brother supports, then I talk about those programs. Today, we're going to do a shorter version of my live because I'm starting later, and we will be doing a little bit on Photo Stitch.
Okay, and somebody just said, I don't know where to go to find the class, so I'll just share this real quick with you. Because Cindy and I are both teaching that. Here you go. If you go to angelawolf.com, and we both have links for this everywhere, but go to angelawolf.com, right here, click classes and events, right up there in the top right. Scroll down past that monstrously huge picture. And these are the links for the classes. And there's the embroidery right there. You just click right on that button. And this is where you find past classes or new classes. And this is also the Brother Sews schedule, which you can find the Brother Sews schedule on Brother's Facebook page or in their newsletter. But I have started to post it here too, so you don't forget. So you would know that Cindy and I were on today. And if you have favorite educators you like to follow, I have this all listed on here. So again, angelawolf.com, click on classes and events, and that will take you right there. And if you have any questions, you can holler. And no, you don't have to be, somebody said, do I have to be live? No, you don't have to be there live. If you want to ask a question in advance, you can, or part of, it's like if you want to hang out, and I love doing live sessions with people, but you can also have the replay for as long as you like. Somebody asked if we're teaching about buttonholes. I don't think that was on the Richter scale for Friday. We're going to be teaching about stabilizers, needle choices, thread, how to hoop, the basics of the basics to get you rolling.
And Margaret, yes, I'm sure I won't be on at 5 because I'm in a meeting until that time. So I had to, if you'll look, my post is the one that will be right. You'll get it off of my Facebook page. I'll be on at 4:15 Central, which is 5:15 Eastern.
So also, yeah, that's right, because you're Central. Also, if you follow Cindy's page or you follow Brother's page, you follow my Facebook page, you should get notifications when we go live. So Cindy, do you stream to YouTube as well or just on Facebook?
I do stream to YouTube as well.
So that has actually been a little bit of a blessing in disguise. So here for Brother, when we're on the Brother page on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, we're also on the Brother YouTube page. Now that is one thing that I usually hit a follow. If you subscribe to the YouTube page, your YouTube page, mine, Brother, you'll actually get a pop-up when we go live. So if you prefer to watch it on Facebook, it'll remind you to come over to Facebook. But at the same time, Facebook hasn't been cooperating the last couple of weeks on my side. I don't know about you, Cindy, but I decided to test the beta page, but that lasted like 2 weeks and I was ready to pull my hair out. So I'm back to the classic.
I decided not to try the beta page. So
Good call. So anyways, those are a lot of ways you can find it. You could always just put an alarm on your phone too.
Yep.
So this was a lot of fun. Making sure there weren't any other questions. You're sure, brother says it's at 4 p.m. Nope, she's sure. I put the schedule of whatever it usually is. So trust Cindy. She's the one doing the class. And
I mean, like I said, unfortunately, I had to switch things up this week. I thought about canceling it, but I will not be on next week because I'll be in Florida. So I'm going to Dad's next week. So
that sounds
not a good thing to try to go live there. You never know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, you kind of like this. Yeah. Well, this was wonderful. Great demo. I'm going to actually go make a patch for that jacket, and I will do a quick video on how I sew it on for those of you that want to sew yours on. Although I kind of like that pressing thing. That'd be so much faster.
And if you decide you don't like it, you can just heat it back up and peel it back off.
Oh, I like that.
Put something else back over the top of it. But it really is a good way to cover up embroidery opportunities as well. We don't call them mistakes. They're learning opportunities.
Thanks, Kelly. She's always so great about popping in the links right here. All right, everyone.
That is nice.
Well, Cindy, this was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to watching your show this afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to our class on Friday. So,
me too.
Everyone, brother, thank you for letting your brand ambassadors take over your page. Let's see. So you have Cindy this afternoon. Tomorrow I have a live show at 1:30. At 3 o'clock tomorrow is Emily. And on Thursday at noon, we have brother educators coming in for more tutorials. The last few have been amazing on the Luminaire, but also can be used on some of your other machines. The My Design Center tutorials, Cindy, I have blown everybody out of the water. It's been so much fun.
And that is available on the 1050 and the 1055X. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
People think that the 1055 is all for business, and it's really not. I know a lot of people that do their quilting on it. And I know a lot of people that got it just because it does things faster with 10 needles than they can do with one. So
there you go. Anne said she's going to make a patch. Well, I have to make them now for my sister, for all of her kids, for their lunch. I got to do the lunch bags and the others. So unless she was watching, I might have her come back and watch and do it herself. But, I got to have something that I can offer.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Well, everyone oh, hey, Carrie, nice to see you. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we will see you later. Talk soon. And you can always message us if you have any questions.
Yes.
See ya.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us today.